Father which is in heaven, for he maketh his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sendeth rain on the just and on the unjust.
If we were facing an alien threat from outside this world, and yet I ask you, is not an alien force already among us?
Humanity is not the only intelligence in the universe.
Humanity is not the only intelligent species.
We are absolutely not alone.
Non-human intelligence exists.
UAPs are real, they're here, and they're not human. I spent 25 years as a senior official with the CIA.
I worked on highly classified UAP programs.
28 years as an astrophysicist.
I served as the 4th Director of National Intelligence.
Director of Aviation Security in the National Security Council.
A one-star admiral after 32 years of service.
People that come forward with this, I feel like they've taken their life in their own hands.
I was recruited to a highly sensitive government program that investigated unidentified aerial phenomenon.
For over 16 years, on behalf of the U.S. government, I worked as a senior intelligence official on the unidentified aerial phenomenon topic.
We learned that the U.S. government was involved in a long-running secret war with other nations to collect and reverse engineer vehicles not made by humans.
I have seen with my own eyes non-human craft and non-human beings.
Look at that thing. It's rotating. There's a whole fleet of them.
The first country that cracks the code on this technology will be the leader for years to come.
China has established its own version of a UAP task force.
You think for a second that they wouldn't consider using it to achieve their ends of domination?
This is similar to the Manhattan Project. This is the atomic weapon on steroid.
This is so secret. Very, very few people in our entire government have been allowed access to it.
Even presidents have been operating on a need-to-know basis, but that begins to ramp out of control.
It's not acceptable to have secret parts of government that no one ever sees.
You better be careful about a government that doesn't trust its feet, because there's no telling what they'll pull on you.
This is the biggest discovery in human history.
You had information being locked away that could change the trajectory for species.
It has so many beneficial impacts, including clean energy.
We should have disclosure today. We should have disclosure tomorrow. The time has come.
And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations, with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear, and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up, and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. And he spake to them a parable. Behold the fig tree, and all the trees. When they now shoot forth, ye see and know of your own selves that summer is now nigh at hand. So likewise ye, when ye see these things come to pass, know ye that the kingdom of God is nigh at hand. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass away till all be fulfilled. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away. And take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your heart be overcharged with surfeiting, and drunkenness, and cares of this life, and so that day come upon you unawares. For as a snare shall it come on all of them that dwell on the face of the whole earth. Watch ye therefore, and pray always that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man.
Now consider the possibility that the very entity shaping global policy might be unknowingly influenced by forces beyond human comprehension. forces that the Bible warns us about. Helena Blavatsky, a woman whose work in the 19th century gave birth to what we now recognize as the New Age movement. On the surface, her teachings appear to be a search for enlightenment, a quest for higher knowledge. But beneath the shimmering facade lies something far more sinister, a connection to so-called ascended masters, spiritual beings she claimed offered wisdom beyond human comprehension. Yet these entities, far from being benevolent, bear the marks of rebellion against the Creator of all. Blavatsky's writings opened doors that perhaps should have remained shut. Her ideas permeated society subtly, like a shadow creeping over a landscape at dusk. What seemed like innocent curiosity, concepts of spirituality and self-discovery, soon became the bedrock of practices that turned hearts away from God's truth. The serpent's old lie in Eden whispered again, "Ye shall be as gods." Could this higher wisdom be anything other than the same ancient deception, carefully repackaged for a modern age? Her influence extended beyond her lifetime, carried forward by Alice Bailey, her fervent follower. Bailey's writings are not the musings of a distant mystic. They are chilling blueprints claiming to map out humanity's future. Her vision was clear. A spiritual hierarchy would one day openly reveal itself, claiming its place of power over world affairs. This plan, she wrote, would culminate in 2025. With eerie confidence, she described these entities as part of a great movement that would compel humanity to embrace a global order, uniting under a single leader, one she likened to a messianic figure. But for those who know the Word of God, this figure bears the unmistakable marks of the Antichrist, Alice Bailey, whose writings were steeped in esoteric teachings and spiritual hierarchies. Her book, The Externalization of the Hierarchy, speaks of a coming time when hidden forces will openly manifest, reshaping governance and faith alike. Her vision aligns uncomfortably well with biblical prophecy. Bailey described spiritual entities she called the hierarchy, which she claimed would emerge as humanity became ready. Ready for what, though? From a Christian perspective, these entities bear a striking resemblance to the demonic forces of 2 Thessalonians 2:9, which warns of him, whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. Bailey's influence within globalist institutions such as the United Nations raises troubling questions. Could policies promoted under the banner of peace and progress have roots in something far more sinister? The Bible teaches us that Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light, 2 Corinthians 11:14, and what better disguise than humanitarian efforts cloaked in noble intentions? Bailey's work is not relegated to dusty bookshelves. It lives on institutions with global influence. Among these is the Lucis Trust, an organization she founded originally named the Lucifer Publishing Company, a name that reveals much. The Trust, deeply aligned with Bailey's teachings, is associated with the United Nations, an entity regarded by many as a beacon of hope and peace. Yet how unsettling is the thought that such an organization, shaping policies that affect billions, could be influenced even unwittingly by philosophies rooted in the occult. She spoke of impending crises that would drive humanity to recognize the need for a global order. These crises, she claimed, were not random but necessary steps in preparing the world for the emergence of a new leader. She called this process the stage of the forerunner.
The intensity with which he said that made me realize that he knew something that he was too afraid to mention. He was too afraid to talk about it. He would not tell me the details. I'm not sure that I would have absorbed them if he had told me the details or even believed him in 1974. But there was no question that that man knew and had a need to know, I found out later. There's no doubt in my mind that Werner von Braun knew about the extraterrestrial issue. The very first meeting that I had with him in 1974, and when he mentioned the extraterrestrial card, that extraterrestrials, aliens he called them, were going to be identified as the final enemy against whom we were going to build space-based weapons back in '74, the way he said it to me, there was no doubt in my mind that he knew something that he was too afraid to talk about.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people, confident that with your help, man will be what he was born to be, free and independent.
If you believe we have crashed craft, stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries, yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
He was the god of masquerade, which means seeing things literally other than they are.
In an interview with an Israeli newspaper, he said the aliens have been waiting until today for humanity to develop and reach a stage where we will understand in general what space and spaceships are. NBC News chief global correspondent Bill Neely explains this one.
Hi, Alison. Well, this is quite a story, and it comes from the man who headed Israel's space security program for nearly 30 years. Chaim Eshed is making the extraordinary claim that the United States and Israel have been in contact with a group of aliens for years, not immigrants, but extraterrestrials. Well, the retired general says the US and Israel have kept it from the public because, quotes, humanity isn't ready and the aliens don't want to reveal themselves until humanity can evolve, he says, and understand what space really is. Well, the good news is that he claims an agreement has been reached between the US government and the aliens, a contract to do experiments here. There's also, he says, a secret underground base.
Rumor has it there is a secret base hidden underneath the Archuleta Mesa here. The mountain overlooks Dulce. Some people in town say the base is run by aliens working with our federal government to conduct mind control and genetic experiments.
A contract to do experiments here.
There's a connection to transhumanism, this idea of modifying humans, experiments going on in secretive places, sometimes under the watchful eye of these higher entities where they are modifying humans to some end that remains mysterious to us right now. Both the transhumanist angle, which is connected to the alien deception agenda.
A former U.S. government consultant claims to have knowledge of at least 3 secret meetings President Eisenhower had with an alien civilization. That consultant is Timothy Good, shown here lecturing. Good says Eisenhower met with aliens at a New Mexico Air Force base in 1954.
Perhaps the most important evidence yet uncovered. A classified memo written by Roosevelt in February 1944, in which he agrees that non-terrestrial know-how in atomic energy must be used in perfecting superweapons of war to effect the complete defeat of Germany and Japan. Roosevelt also wrote that we should take every advantage of such wonders that have come to us.
Now, when we come to the Roosevelt document that talks about acquiring technology, there's no doubt that technology acquisition is something that governments and perhaps presidents have thought about in relation to UFOs.
The president's memo to a committee devoted to science and technology not of this earth suggests that our government was, in fact, in possession of otherworldly technology, and that Roosevelt knew far more about UFOs than he ever let on in public.
When it comes to the so-called UFO phenomenon in the military-industrial complex, one must use a heightened level of discernment, because there are 2 types of encounters that occur around military facilities. There are the UFOs the military deems hostile, which are actually the chariots of the Most High God of Israel. And there are UFOs and extraterrestrials that the US, Great Britain, and the Israeli government have entered into contract with. And these aren't the only nations.
They've built laboratories and underground bases for these entities in exchange for forbidden knowledge. Knowledge that helps maintain their psychological, economic, and military dominance.
When it comes to the relationship between the US military, the government, and the occult, these connections have been well established. It is a well-known fact that the father of American rocket science, Jack Parsons, openly practiced Satanism and performed rituals to obtain breakthroughs in scientific knowledge.
And his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. And he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. And through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand. And he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand.
It's very interesting if we read that, and then you read, is it Blavatsky or Bailey, who said of the manifestation of the hierarchy?
It's Bailey that says it, but Bailey is the follow-up prophet of Blavatsky.
So, you see, so the occult prophets also says that there will be this manifestation, as long with it's always been there, and it probably is the way it's going to.
I expect it to accelerate greatly within the next year.
I do too. I think, in fact, as I was studying 2025 and 2027, were talked about quite a bit as we've been going over some of these writings for some reason.
And demonic forces are not only manifesting already, but will be doing so more and more. They will be taking on roles which represent entities that are no longer in existence. And they will deceive many, if possible, even the elect. So, Lord, I pray that you will open the eyes of people, take them to your word, make them realize the veracity of your word, read it, trust it, believe it, implement it, and be safeguarded against these demonic delusions. And help everyone to realize that there is only one way to salvation, and that this cosmic war is really not against flesh and blood, but against the evil and the principalities and the sin that is in this world. Because the new world will be without sin, without fear, and without death. And we look forward to that entity which is real and not based on illusions.
70,000 people saw a UFO. One of the girls, her name was Lucia, she received a message. The message went to the Holy Pope in Rome with the order to publish this message to mankind 1960, 43 years after 1917. The Pope, 1960, read the message. I cannot publish this message. It would create a panic among humans. Journalists started with speculation. They said maybe the message has to do with the next World War. The bishop who knew the message says no, it has absolutely nothing to do with the next World War. It concerns our belief. Why should they not publish it? In my opinion, it was a message from extraterrestrials.
Do you believe that our government is in possession of UAPs?
Absolutely, based on interviewing over 40 witnesses over 4 years.
And where?
I know the exact locations, and those locations were provided to the Inspector General. Has any of the activity been aggressive, been hostile in your reports? I know of multiple colleagues of mine that got physically injured. And the activity, and I got by UAPs or by people within the federal government? Both.
If you were me, where would you look? Titles, programs, departments?
I'd be happy to give you that in a closed environment. I can tell you specifically. And I would say, and I've told people that you have to know where to look. They're not going to divulge it to you because of the classification levels. But if you know where to look and who to talk to, which is exactly what Mr. Grush can point you, then you have them.
Tens of millions of people have seen UFOs. Many even recall personal encounters with strange entities. And the popular view is that these are advanced aliens visiting us from far, far away.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
It was the mayhem surrounding the cover-up that created what's being called the Roswell incident.
I had multiple experiences with like little beings in my room.
It's global. We have reports now from 140 countries.
Our commanders and all told us just keep your mouth shut about it.
Join us and live in peace, or pursue your present course and face obliteration.
In our investigations, we were finding things that we just couldn't get answers for.
I was literally thrown into the bed.
I cried, "Help me. Jesus, please help me."
It's one thing to just deny. It's another thing to say, we believe you had an experience, but here's God's take.
When one takes a deeper look at this phenomenon, it reveals one of the most disturbing yet powerful affirmations of the truth of the Bible and Christianity.
It sounds like the stuff of science fiction movies or tabloid journalism, but a secret government-funded program to investigate UFO sightings turns out to have been real and inspired by sightings like this.
Fireworks? What is that? Aliens? I don't know.
What the heck
Where is that? You see it, right?
I'm actually, yes,
okay.
I do see it.
Okay.
It's getting weirder by the second.
I know.
It's like they're sticking around.
One of them is going to make a decision to take off from the herd right after he changes color, which is an interesting effect. So he has just shot off and then vanishes. Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. 1, 2, 3, and go. Dimensional trolls examining mankind as if he were merchandise that they desired to own, as if the earth itself were a chessboard with lots of little human pawns, many of which, scratch that, all of which the Goat King is willing to sacrifice to the fire. Human sacrificial sites to the dark and serpent gods. There's a Lizard King right up here. We'd prefer you not look at all that and pay attention to, come on in, man, look at the shiny dazzle of our golden third-eyed idols with the wings on their sides and the magical serpents coming forth. In fact, the thing just behind the golden mask of the owls and serpents. Ride the snake right down the downward spiral, the technological looking space portal, the rabbit hole into the Abuso. I know we operate like a computer virus, look like bugs. Come on, we're just aliens. We want to have a good time, make you feel tingly and good. And we come bearing gifts. Just read the messages on our sun discs. Follow the spiral towards the ancient sun god, Ra, the falcon, the crow, the Aztec and Mayan, Master Hilarion at the center of the circle, his tongue out, laughing at you. Insects, locusts, ready to devour, but don't think of it like that. Don't think of it like that at all. Think of it like a playhouse for you to come into. We're wisdom creatures. Have you not read? Our employer, Pan, the great god Nothing, king of demons and owner of goats, is waiting, and he needs your help. Have you not read our books of wisdom, accompanied with our idols? Who do you think comes, bearing you these great gifts? We're the builders behind the scenes.
The Word of God warns of a time when the supernatural will bleed into the natural, when signs and wonders will serve not as proof of truth, but as tools of deception. Revelation speaks of lying wonders, and Jesus himself warned of false signs that would come to mislead. Could these so-called alien encounters be the opening act of a much darker play? What if the world's fascination with extraterrestrial life is not about what lies beyond the stars, but about what lurks in the spiritual realm? What if these lights in the sky and strange encounters are meant to prepare humanity for the ultimate deception? A figure who will rise not from the heavens, but from the depths, cloaked in power and promising salvation to a world in chaos. The enemy's plan is as subtle as it is bold. He knows that humanity is drawn to the spectacular, the mysterious, the unknown. He knows how to play on our fears and our hopes, to exploit our longing for answers and meaning. In this age of information, where the line between truth and falsehood grows ever thinner, his deceptions take on new forms. Conspiracy theories that weave together fragments of truth and fiction, luring even the wise into their snares. These theories, while often bizarre, touch on something deeply real. They speak of forces working behind the scenes, of plans and agendas that seem too coordinated to be mere chance. And though some dismiss them outright, others see in them glimpses of a spiritual battle playing out in the physical world. The Bible warns us not to be ignorant of Satan's schemes, for his goal is always the same: to lead us away from God and into the arms of a counterfeit Savior. The Antichrist represents the climax of this deception, a figure who is already among us,